no pants on, so I don't know. I hope you guys can see. Wow, is my f***ing head cut off? Oh my god. Wow, okay. I'm just in my panties. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the long-awaited update on my roommate horror story situation. It did not go as according to plan. I think there's a lot. If you guys have not seen the first video, my last video to this, go watch the first video. It's called My Roommate Horror Story. I will leave it linked in the description below or on the screen right here for you guys to check out. Definitely go and watch that, because if you don't, you will be kind of confused and a little bit lost. But you can watch it however you want. You can watch part 1, part 2, whatever you want to do. I'm cool with it, however you want to watch it. There's no wrong or right way. Yes, there is, really, but no, there's not. Just do whatever you want. Just don't click out of this video, please, because I don't have subscribers. I never expected in a million years that anybody would actually watch that video. I only made it because, honestly, I was having a lot of anxiety about it and I needed to kind of release it somewhere, and my boyfriend wouldn't listen to me anymore about it. But thank you guys so much for just being so interested in my story. And whether you were on my side or her side or whatever side that you're on, I hope that my story and this video will aid to some of you guys out there that are maybe going through the similar situation as I am, and maybe you can learn from my mistakes and my roommate's mistakes as well, so you guys don't get into any icky sticky things like we did. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all your kind words and your love and support, and thank you even for the people who didn't say kind words but kind of was just getting on my case about how stupid I was in the situation. Thank you guys as well. I seriously learned so much from that situation, and I have grown so much in the last couple of months and year. Actually, the last year I've grown so much on my spiritual journey. I've learned so much. It's just felt so much better to have you guys there to talk through can't speak, and understand my situation and, you know, what I'm going through. So leave me a comment down below. I do want to be more active and talk with you guys. Definitely make sure you are subscribed if you are feeling my vibes. And yeah, let's get into the video. I'm gonna use a fake name because I don't want to be, I just don't want to expose her or be rude like that. I know in my last video a lot of you guys were commenting that I accidentally left her name on the screen. Oops. I'll do a brief overview for some of you guys who didn't see the first video. Basically, my ex-roommate decided to sue me 2 weeks before Christmas. I mean, like, who does that? Who does that? Who does that though? Really, girl? You couldn't even let Santa bring me a gift and push that? You couldn't push it off a little bit longer? You had to do it right before Christmas? You got Father Christmas, you got the spirit of love and giving and thanks, and you still right before Christmas? Really, girl? Okay. Anyway, on with the story. That part really irked me. At this time, the court date was set for January 3rd, and I was a little irritated and upset because during this time leading up to the court date, I had planned to go to Seattle with my boyfriend to visit his family out there for the holidays. We're gonna stay out there for Christmas, and we were thinking to go to Vegas or somewhere for the New Year's, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything for New Year's because I had to be back in LA for that freaking court date on the 3rd. It was just so much, it was so annoying, and honestly I had so much anxiety, you guys, during that period of time. I just wanted to relax with family and friends and enjoy the holiday, and I really couldn't get to do that completely because of this whole entire situation. The entire time, because I'm one of those people where I will run something through my mind a couple times, like 1,000 times, until I resolve it. And even when I resolve it, I still run it back just to make sure that it is really, really resolved. And at that time, that's how my mind was. And I don't want to say she ruined my holiday season or my trip, but
you're the king of sin.
She kind of did, and it really, that part really, really upset me. So the entire time, you know, I go out of town to go with my boyfriend to visit his family in Seattle, and it wasn't a great time. I actually vlogged it, but I never put it up because I'm just that big of a procrastinator, and there's like a lot of footage to go through. I don't even know if you guys want to see it. But, well, since we are in quarantine right now and there's nothing to really do, I guess I could edit that vlog and put it up. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you want to see it. I might just put it up anyway for myself, because that's why I put up vlogs, is for me, is to remember that time. But anyway, I ended up having a great time during the holidays, don't get me wrong, but that was always in the background. So while I was on vacation with family and friends and my boyfriend, that was in the background of my mind. You know, I kept thinking about it, kept coming up. Like every time I tried to relax or go to sleep, or I would, you know, just relax and feel good. It's raining like cats and freaking dogs and pigs too outside. I'm so sorry if you can hear that. Let me close. There was no way I could go and party for New Year's and be like, yeah, partying it up, because I knew like the next day I had to be, well, not the next day, but the day after, I had to be in freaking court. So there was like no party time there. So I didn't want to take like that type of energy into the new year with me. I really wanted to kind of move past this whole thing. Fast forward to the night before the court date. For whatever reason, the night before the court date, I got this really weird feeling in my stomach, like just like, I don't know, you guys, but I sometimes I get, it's intuition. So I had this like sickening intuition that like I need to look at this courthouse, because I've never been to this courthouse before, and I need to double check the address, double check everything to make sure that I'm on time. I need to make sure all of my evidence is ready. So I went, I printed out all of my photos and all of the text messages and everything like that that I needed. You know, something kept telling me, my lips are so chapped. I'll put some balm on in a minute. Something kept telling me to check out this courthouse, because I'm going to tell y'all something. All the courthouses in LA, all of them ain't right. All of them don't follow the law. And a lot of them are really dirty, especially when it comes to landlord-tenant situations. But anyway, I just was like, I need to go and see, because I'd never been to this courthouse before. Now, I went on the website, and if I can, I will insert pictures on the screen, y'all, because this courthouse had so many bad reviews that, girl, it was like lighting up a dang Christmas tree with bad reviews. Like ding 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 ding. That's how many bad reviews it had. It could light up a freaking Christmas tree. Anyway, I'm looking up the reviews, and it's a 2.5 star review, and every single review, I kid you not, said that this courthouse does not abide by the law. This courthouse does not take evidence into consideration. They do not look at your evidence. So if you go in there thinking, okay, I have the evidence, I'm going to lay it out, forget about it, because this courthouse don't care about evidence. I saw that they said that this courthouse was, they actually said the courthouse was really, really ghetto. They said the courthouse was lazy. They said that the workers were really rude. I'm going to be honest with you, that was not my experience with the courthouse as far as like the rudeness. Everyone, all the workers in there, the security guards, everyone was really nice and polite and sweet to me. So I didn't have a problem with like rudeness or anything like that. I did see it did seem a little bit not as professional walking in. It does have that feel of like a more relaxed, more chill kind of ghetto laid. Now I don't want to say the word ghetto, but a little bit laid back of a joint, you know what I'm saying. This courthouse is racist. I didn't experience racism, but it was like this courthouse is racist. They're biased. They don't look at the evidence. They're really lazy. They just make up random decisions, like they don't really take anything into consideration. And I'm like, this can't be true. This is just people who have lost their cases and they're angry at the court. Like, I'm sure that the court has to follow the court rules, because that's the reason why they're in their judges and they're in their seats, is because this is the type of career, the path that they wanted. This is their passion. So like, who becomes a judge and it's not their passion? I feel like that's a little bit much. So I'm like, so they're going to be good at it and they're going to follow the law no matter what. That was not the experience that I had, let me say. The lease is the most solid thing in this entire situation. So at the very least, the judge is going to go by the lease, whatever we had in the written agreement. Day, I get up, I'm on time, which I'm never on time. I take my shower, girl. I'm like, okay, I got all my evidence and my photos laid out. They're in a nice little folder. Everything is organized. I got my outfit on. I got my makeup on. I'm looking good. I'm looking professional. I'm looking sharp. And I'm like, okay, I'm on time. Like, you know, like maybe 5 minutes early or 10 minutes ahead of time. So I'm like, I'm doing freaking good. I'm ready and dressed to go. And I had, you know, I had a nice outfit. I had prepared a nice outfit. I had heels to go with that outfit. Of course, I wasn't about to wear the heels while I was driving. So I decided to just, you know, put on my slippers. Girl, I put on my slippers. I had my purse, my bag, I had my shoe, I had everything that I needed. And I was like, you know what? I had my tea. I'm like, it's time to go. My boyfriend said, good luck, kissed me, and I was like, okay, bye, baby. So everything was good. I was like, I'm good, you know. And so I'm driving on the way there. I'm listening to my Native American drums, warrior music, girl. I got my warrior music on in the car. I'm ready, like, I'm ready, bring it on. I was just open, okay, a little bit too much, as we usually are. All right, even though I'm a little bit like I'm right on time, I should still be good. Park in my parking spot, and I'm like, cool. And I'm grabbing my stuff. I'm like, yes, I'm right on time, but I don't want to be late, so let me hurry up. So I'm getting my paperwork. I'm grabbing my purse. I am locking up my car, and so I was like, okay, let me put on my shoes now. Let me put on my heels now, because I'm actually close enough, because I didn't want to park too far, because I knew I had to wear heels, and I didn't want to walk from super far away to in heels. So I decided to park just in like the pay for parking and park in the parking structure instead. And that is what I did. And so I'm parking, I'm getting my shit together, I'm grabbing my stuff, I'm, you know, got my shit looking cute, okay. And then I'm like, get my bag, get my paperwork, got you. And I'm like, all right, now I need to change my shoes, because I need to put on my heels, because now it's time for me to walk. So I'm looking, I'm like, ooh, I'm looking in my bag, and I'm like, where's my heels? Where's my heels? My heels was not in the bag, you guys. My heels was not in the bag. And in that moment, I'm like, no. I'm looking around all in the car. I'm like, I grabbed my heels right before I walked out of the door. I remember, I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? I remember I got my tea. I said goodbye to my bae, and I got all of my stuff, and I remember my heels was right by the door on the shoe rack. Yeah, Zahara. Fuck. That's where you left them, on the freaking shoe rack. You never actually grabbed your shoes. And I'm just like, oh my God. No, this cannot be real. And I'm telling you guys, I was wearing, because it was cold out at this point. This is in January, and yeah, we live in LA, but it was still cold out. So I'm wearing like knee-high socks, you guys. Like, I don't even know what kind of design was on it. My thick slippers with fur on them and everything. I'm looking all through the car. I'm looking in my trunk, knowing that I didn't even go in my trunk or anything, but I'm still looking at my trunk like there better be a pair of shoes up in this dang trunk, because I cannot walk into court in my house slippers. Like, I can't go in these fuzzy house shoes. Like, believe it or not, you guys, when you go to court, you need to actually look the part. Everything needs to be on point when you go to court. That is how I do things, and that's just how I think that, you know, you have a better success rate. Especially if you look the part, act the part, and you have your evidence to back you up, you're good. If you come into court looking half-assed, jacked up, or like you don't care, or like you're not taking it seriously, it's very, very disrespectful to the judge and her courtroom and just the entire process. I mean, you don't have to be like super dressed up, but you want to make sure that you look nice and conservative and professional in somewhat of a way. You want to look clean. Now I feel like a freaking fool. So I'm like, okay, at this point, it's 5 minutes into my court time. So I'm like, should I go back and get the shoes? Because I'm thinking, if I walk into the courtroom in these shoes, I'm definitely gonna lose. So I call my boyfriend. I'm like, oh my freaking God, guess what? I left my shoes. And he's like, so what are you wearing? I'm wearing my freaking house shoes, my slippers, and my long Christmas socks. And he just starts laughing and he's like, don't worry. I was like, should I go back? He's like, I'm at the point of tears right now. Like, in his Russian accent, he's like, you're American. Don't worry about it. You're fine. Can't go back. And I get out of the car, I'm walking, and I'm so upset that the guy in the parking is like, you okay? Is everything good? I saw you sitting there for a while. I'm like, no, everything's okay. It's good. It's just that I left my freaking heels at home, and now I have to go into court like this. And he looks at me and he just starts shaking his head and laughing. He's like, don't worry, you'll be all right. Don't worry, you'll be all right. And I'm just like, no. Everybody's telling me I'm gonna be all right, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna freaking be all right. I'm going to court in my freaking house slippers and my long fuzzy Christmas socks. So I get inside. I'm just telling everybody because I'm just so upset about how this happened. The injustice, you know, the injustice of life. So I get inside, go through security. I tell the security guy is super nice and sweet to me. Very, very sweet. And I told him the story and he was like, it's okay, you still look beautiful though. I'm like, but you don't get it, I'm at my house. I go to the bathroom because I'm like, I am going to have to pee. I'm going to have to, because at this point I'm just like, let me just get it out now. Let me just release everything now and get all of the stress out so I'm not holding anything. By the way, my boyfriend did not go to court with me because he had to work, and yeah, it was just like he didn't come. I went by myself. I was alone by myself. I see her and she's talking to 2 people, so I'm guessing she came and brought friends, which now it making me feel a little bit like I don't have anybody to support me and she has like friends here and stuff like that. But come to find out later, those were not even her friends. They were just some other people that she met that was also in court that were Russian, and so they met like that because they were Russian, and Russian people always talk to each other, I guess. I don't know. That was racist, but my boyfriend, he always talks to other Russian people. We're sitting out there, I see her and I'm just waiting. I'm like, I don't want to cause anything, so I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And we ended up waiting for about 3 hours before they actually took us, because they don't take the numbers in order. They just take it by what would be the easiest case first. Okay, so she calls roll and make sure everyone who's supposed to be there is there. The other person that Kit Kat brought to court was not there. He didn't show up. So you get a period of time to come to the resolution on your own, and if you want to do that, or you can decide to not do that and to just wait for the judge. But once you get to the judge, that is it. The judge is going to decide, and whatever the ruling is, that's what it is. And if you are the plaintiff, you cannot ask for a retrial. That's pretty much it. If you're the defendant, you can, but if you're a plaintiff, you cannot ask for a retrial. So she was like, this is your chance to go out there and kind of settle this situation and squash it before you get up here in front of me and have me do it. Because I might do something that you think is unfair when you guys could have just figured it out on your own. Also, she told us to like share the evidence we had on each other with each other to make sure we all had the same information before we came back into court. We went outside, we exchanged paperwork and stuff, and you know, we pretty much had the same stuff. She had the same text messages and access to the same text messages I did. I did notice that you know, she had a different story layout. She did cut a lot of the my text messages out of her story. So she looked a little bit scared or nervous, but she was just quiet. I didn't say anything to her. I didn't try to come to a resolve because I didn't bring myself here. You brought me here, Kit Kat. You brought us here, Kit Kat. I didn't want to come here. So why would I try to come to a resolve? Like, why would I just felt like it wasn't my responsibility, even though maybe it was. She said nothing to me. She was like, oh, I have everything, and she was just quiet and was like, you know, I have everything, everything's good. So I was like, cool. We go back into the court. 2 hours later, the judge calls us up, and I'm like, I'm in my fucking house shoes, and this judge is like African American judge. She's black, a black woman. Her bailiff is a black woman, like a strong, like buzz cut and everything bailiff, and she's like an older black woman. And I'm like, I'm gonna get it. I just knew. I said, I'm gonna get it, because if I ever walked into church with house slippers on, my mama, my grandma would have laid me out. So I knew I was going to get it. That a lot of older African American people, especially the women, are really, really hard on younger African American people, probably just because they want them to do good, they want them to do better, and they want them to be smarter. But that also makes them very, very hard on the younger generation, just harder on you. Guy that Kit Kat, the other guy that was supposed to come, and she claimed was the building owner that was supposed to come, did not show up, was not there, and she told the judge that she could not find him, that he was not there, and that there was no, she tried to go to the place where he lived or whatever his address was, and there was nothing there. There was like no buildings or anything there. It was like empty lot. So I'm just like, okay, because he ain't real and he's not the owner of the building. I just felt like it wasn't important for me to even say. Of course he didn't show up because he's not real, because he's not the owner of the building, so that's why he's not here. But I wanted to say that, you know, being the petty me, but I was just like, save it, because I knew that the judge was like, you know, was handling it. So she dismissed the case on him and just was taking it up with me. So Kit Kat started the story. Kit Kat told her part. It got to me and I told my part exactly the way that I told you guys. Well, a little bit shorter, but mostly the way that I told you guys. Like I said, Kit Kat's a nice person. And you know, I kind of regret this, but I painted her in a really good light, to be honest with you. Like as soon as I got there, I noticed that the judge, she looked at me like up and down. And I know, like I could just feel the like judgment, like, oh, fuck. I was a bit nervous while I was telling my story, obviously, because this is a nerve-wracking situation. And I was honestly really angry and upset because I felt like Kit Kat had lied or twisted the story because of the way she had it laid out. It didn't show all of the text messages. It didn't show all of what she said, and it didn't show all of what I said. It only showed pieces of what she said. And then she had text messages of her talking to other people, trying to find another place. And I just didn't know what that had to do with the case. I was kind of confused about what was going on and what she was talking about. And I was just really lost on her story. And I was just feeling like really annoyed. So me getting wrapped up in what she was saying kind of fucked me over, because I started to mess up on the dates when I was talking to the judge. And the judge got a little bit confused, and because she got confused, she got annoyed because she didn't want to look like a fool. Obviously, she's the judge. And so Kate and I both put our evidence forward, and the judge did not look at any of our evidence. Let me just say right now that this judge was the most casual judge I've ever met in my life. Nothing was done based off of evidence. Nothing was done based off of written, actual evidence and off of the lease. Everything she did and decided on was based off of just how well you could tell the story, who she believed, how good of a story that you cultivated to share with her. And I got that while I was sitting down in the courtroom just watching her go through the other cases. I started to get nervous, like she's not really listening to them. She's not really reading taking the evidence. They put evidence down. She's not really looking at the paperwork or any of the evidence. She's just making a decision based off of how she feels personally. And then I'm like, fuck, this is going to be nothing about what actually happened. It's going to be all about how well you can tell a good story that she believes. And I was like, because all I had was the truth, okay? I didn't have a good story that I came up with like Kit Kat did. I'm sorry. Kit Kat and I both tried to give her our evidence, our our pictures that we took and paperwork. And by the way, she was she's like, thank you so much for taking the pictures of the evidence and coming in prepared. Like, I really appreciate you putting it into picture form. Like, she was really nice, but I'm like, I put it in it so you can look at it though, but you're not looking at it. Yeah. She was like, thank you so much for putting it into picture form, but I'm just not gonna look at the evidence at all. And I'm like, oh my God, does anybody see that this is not fair? Like, what the heck? And even Kit Kat was kind of like, what the hell? Like, we were both looking at each other kind of like, what is going on? Because she ain't even looking at none of our evidence. And she was getting confused because, not only because, I may have messed up a few dates, but because she was not looking at the evidence. She was not following along with the evidence. I did look over a few of the text messages. And the one that she looked over was me talking with her about like, hey, I have to ask my boyfriend, Max. I have to ask Max because I can't pay. I don't have the money right now to pay it to you because I've been doing repairs and stuff. It's a little late notice. I would have to ask Max for the money. For whatever reason, the judge got really caught up and focused on Max. And she was just like, I just want to know. Why, all I keep seeing is Max. I gotta ask Max. Why are you talking about Max? Who gives a crap about your boyfriend? I don't care that you have a boyfriend. She don't care. Who gives a crap about your boyfriend? And I'm telling you, she just went off and was just like, let me tell you something. This is your apartment, not Max's apartment. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't clear about that. I don't know if I was clear about it in my last video either, because someone did also comment the same thing, like, why did you have to check with Max when it's your apartment? Is Max paying? Yes, Max was already, even though Max had not moved in, he was already helping me with paying for things, and he had already been paying for a good chunk and majority of the apartment. That is the reason why I had to check with him, because he was financing a lot of the things that was going on. Yes, it was my apartment, and yes, I was making the decision, but he was doing a lot of the financing on most of it. Also, he had already told his landlord at his other place that he would be moving out, and so he had already given a 30-day notice to them. Like I said, if it was any other person other than my boyfriend, like another roommate that was moving in, there's no way they would have done something like switched it around like that. I wouldn't have switched it around like that for her, because I would have been like, no, this person already paid their money. They're already like coming, and they already, like, I can't do that. I think she just had her own personal vendetta against men. She probably had some experience with guys who was living off of her, didn't pay nothing, and was just kind of like a scumbag, and so her having that experience kind of influenced this situation in this case, and influenced her thoughts and ideas and opinions on me and my relationship and my situation. But at the time that she started going off, I knew just by the way she was going off that it was getting personal to her, that it was something personal with her. It had nothing really to do with me. I think the entire courtroom felt it, just because of the fact of how much she went into it and how long she kept talking about it for, and it was like outside of the case. It had nothing to do with what was going on. So she just was going on and on and on, like, listen, let me tell you, this is your apartment. You don't need to ask anybody to do anything. You make the decisions, not him, okay? This is your apartment. I don't care. I was like, but he was, and I spoke up. I didn't mean to interrupt her because she had stopped speaking in the moment. And I was like, he was paying. That is the reason. And she was like, I understand. She's like, and the bailiff was like this, like, don't talk anymore. I'm like, ooh, yeah, like yes ma'am, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, yes ma'am, because she was not about to go, she was not about to drop it. She was just going on and on and on and on and on, like, you don't let no man tell you nothing or what to do or this or that. And I'm just like, it's not even about that. It's not, that's not even what we're here for. He's not running nothing. Guys come and go, roommates come and go, friends come and go, everything comes and goes, okay? So you need to make sure you stay true to yourself and make your life the best possible life and experience you can have for yourself, okay? And if that means you moving your boyfriend into your apartment, move your damn boyfriend into your apartment, okay? If that means you telling even your friend, like, hey girl, like, I love you and all, but I want to live with my, I want to move my, I'm doing on this journey with my man and I want to move him in. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there was anything wrong with what I did. Honestly, I do see that there was something wrong with my leniency. She said, you know what I think? After looking over all the evidence, I think that you both are at fault. And she goes to Kit Kat, you're at fault because you signed a lease that said you have to give 30-day notice. And by law, you're supposed to give 30-day notice. And you jumped the gun after you requested to stay with her. You jumped the gun by going and looking for another place. And then she turned to me and said, and you are at fault because you was changing the dates with her. You were being lenient with her. So it all comes down to, even though she was like, I don't see anything here where it says that she was gonna pay or she was gonna stay. I'm like, it says it right there in the text messages, but she wouldn't look at the text messages. And then she looked over the lease and was like, you know, you only asked her for a $900 deposit. Isn't that like doesn't that go for like the repairs, because the rent is $1175. So if the rent is $1175 and the deposit is only $900, this is not to cover the deposit or rent for that month. This is to cover the repairs. And I'm like, well, she's like, oh, wait, no, I see it here. It does say it also can be if she leaves the lease early. I'm like, right. So just a tip for you guys. If you are accepting a deposit and it's to cover rent, make sure it is the exact amount of rent or twice the amount of the actual rent, because if it's below or a different amount that is not the rent, they automatically assume that that deposit is only for repairs and not to cover rent. So unless you state it. So just putting that out there. I didn't know that either. I don't know why I made the deposit lower. Now that I think about it, was just really stupid. I was just looking for a roommate really quickly, and I thought the deposit was lower, that I would get a roommate quicker because there was less money. But I did work outside of the contract that we signed. So how is she to uphold a contract that both of us was working outside of? So pretty much because I was lenient with Kit Kat and allowed her to change the dates, I allowed it. Like the judge said, she said to me, you know what, you allowed it. You allowed her to change the dates, and you kept allowing it and kept changing it with her. So that shows me that you were also working outside of the contract. You allowed her to do it and you were doing it too. So you both were working outside of the contract. So how am I to uphold this contract when you guys are working outside of it? How am I to take what you were doing outside of the contract and apply it to this contract? It's not. So she said, what do you want me to do? Because I honestly think that you guys could have figured this out outside before coming in here. Now you have to have me make a decision. And she pointed to me and was like, why couldn't you guys resolve this outside? And I'm like, I don't know. She didn't, like, I didn't thought the one who brought me to court. I don't know. And then she looks at her and is like, why, Miss Kit Kat, couldn't you resolve this out in the hallway? And we're both like, we're just looking at each other. And she's like, you know what I think? I think you guys are both really amazing young women. And I think that you are both really nice, really good, really kind people, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, and really sensible and really smart. And I think that this could have been avoided. It should have not happened. It could have been avoided. First of all, you guys should have never been talking things through text messages, because that's a problem. You should have been talking in person, because a lot of things get confused and misunderstood when you talk through text messages. And then she just pretty much told us, so what do you guys think I should do? And by the way, you guys, she was suing me for the remainder of her deposit, which would have been $750, I think. $700. And so she says to Kit Kat, I don't think that you should get the full deposit back because you left prematurely and you cannot do that. And you're very lucky today because you're very lucky to have had a landlord like that or dealing with her, and it's not somebody else. And you're lucky today because this thing could have went completely different. Because most judges will go by what is in the actual lease agreement and not by what y'all was talking about. So I think that you're very, very lucky about how the situation panned out, and you're very lucky that this young woman was kind enough and nice enough to do this for you. You know, it didn't have to go this way, and it could have been way worse. And she says, so I do not think that you deserve to get the full deposit back. Definitely not, because you left prematurely. And then she said, but you were a good tenant based off of even what she said. And then she turns to me and says, I don't think she should get the full deposit, but I do think that she should get something back because I believe that y'all equally were at fault. And first she asked Kit Kat, like, how much do you think that you should get back? Like, what do you think? And Kit Kat, she's looking at me like, and I'm looking at her like, yeah, nothing. And so Kit Kat's like, half. I think she should give me half of it back. And I'm just like, ugh. And so the judge come to me and she's like, so how much do you think you should get? Like, how much do you think would be fair? What do you think would be fair? And I said, nothing. I don't think I should give her anything because I already gave her $200, and I think this entire thing is unfair because this entire thing happened because I was trying to be nice to her. You know what I'm saying? And they changed it from the entire thing happened because I was trying to accommodate her, to this entire thing happened because I was being a pushover, lenient landlord, which is actually essentially, I realized myself, yes, it's the same thing. So I was like, I don't think she should get nothing. I think she should get the $200 that I gave her, and I don't even think she should get that. I think she should walk away with that. I actually think I should get something. I think she should give me for back rent for leaving prematurely. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to order you to pay her $250. Okay, instead of $700, you will pay her $250, and which will be in total you paying her $450, which will be half of the $900 deposit, because you guys equally were at fault and you equally, did something wrong. So you guys both will be paying half. And then Kit Kat jumps in and is like, and so she's like, okay, and the $40 court fee. I'll order her to pay the $40 court fee. I'm like, can we split that too? Shoot, since it wasn't all my fault and it was half our fault, can we split that too? But no, you know what? I was at that point, I was like, that's fine. You know what? At least it was not the full deposit. So out of the $700 that she was initially suing me for, she got back $250, which would have been half of the deposit. The full deposit was $900, so I paid $450 and she paid $450, so we both took a hit. She told Kit Kat, good luck to you and your schooling and work, and she turned to me and said, good luck with you and your boyfriend situation. I hope you have fun living with him. And she said it sarcastically, but I was like, thank you, Your Honor, I will, thank you so much. So we left. After we left, we walked out of the courtroom together, and I had to figure out how to pay her. So we started to chat a little bit, and she was looking really, really like a little bit like, I don't want to say sad, but just like nervous or scared, a little bit like sad, worried or sad. And she's just like, I'm really sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry too. We were just like apologizing. She was like, I didn't mean for all this to happen. This is not what I wanted. And she almost looked like she was gonna cry. And I'm like, really, bitch? Because you did it. If you didn't want to do it, then why did you do it? You could have just not did it. But I was like, yeah, me neither. At this point, I just wanted to let it go. It was over, and I just wanted to move on with my life, and I just wanted to change the energy. So I was like, yeah, me neither. I never wanted it to happen, but let's figure out how we can pay. So we walked around the courthouse. The person in the office told us that I had 30 days to pay her, and that I would receive something in the mail telling me what the instructions on what to do. So yeah, after we walked out of the courthouse, we got in the elevator together. It was quiet as f- and I just started talking to her because honestly, I'm like, you know what, like she's still a human being and I just want to move on. So I was just like, how's school, how's everything going? And so she was like, oh, everything's good, I just got back from Russia and blah blah blah. How was Max? And we started talking about like our lives pretty much and just catching up. And we were just really just like, let's move on past the situation. Oh, I was going out to my car and I remembered that she didn't have a car, and I saw that she was kind of like sitting, like waiting on the side, and I'm like, oh, maybe she needs a ride. And I know she lives in Burbank, and Max was working his day job in Burbank. I don't know, I was just feeling like I should, so I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you need a ride? Because I remember she didn't have a car while she was staying out here, and she was like, oh, really? Like, she looked so surprised, like, are you serious, really? I'm like, yeah, like, do you need a ride? Like, you're still a person, you know, even though all of this happened, I try my best to just always always continuously moving forward. I try my best not to harness and hold on to things because I don't want that kind of energy with me. I ended up giving her a ride home in Burbank before I stopped to see Max, and we just talked in the car, and she's just like, yeah, you know, I'm sorry, I can see now that how I did things wrong and that I wasn't really paying attention to what you were saying and that you wasn't. And she's like, I was just really scared and I didn't know I needed to find a place quick and yada yada yada. I'm like, yeah, you know, I should have been more like straightforward with you from the beginning, and I should have been paying attention to, and we should have did everything by the book, and we should have been talking in text messages. So we went over all of that, we squashed the garbage, and I'm just like, I want to just move on. So I dropped her off, and then I headed to see Max on his lunch, and I told him this story, and I was driving in the car when he started calling me, and I just texted him like, hey, like I'm with, hold on a second, I'm like with Kat. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm giving her a ride home. And he's just like, what the okay, yeah, I'll talk to you later, I guess. So that is the end of this story. That is, I know, plot twist. But yeah, I hope you guys really learned something from this entire situation. I hope that you never have to go through a situation like this. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Peace.